good evening and thank you. I am so delighted to be here with you. It's such a special night. Tonight we're here to celebrate. And so we're going to have a lot of fun, okay? But I'm going to need your help with some of that fun. But first I want to tell you a little bit of a serious story. From the bottom of my heart, you could not even begin to know how very much I appreciate and value JDRF. It was 19 years ago tonight that I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And 19 years ago next week is when I walked into a JDRF office. I was broken, I was hurting, I was distraught. I had no idea what life was going to hold for me. All I knew is what I had been told on those first couple of days in a hospital room in Tampa, Florida, at the age of 19. And some of you know parts of this story, but for those of you in the room who may not, and those who may need reminding, I'm going to tell you what I heard on the first day and how you and your efforts together worked to change my reality for something far greater than it would have been had I remained imprisoned by those first words. When I became cognizant of what was going on and what was happening to me, I was unconscious when I was taken to the hospital with a very, very high blood sugar and had been sick for a very long time. The doctors and the health professionals came into the room where I was and where my family was with me, and they started to talk to me about what to expect out of life. And so in the process of doing that, they started to ask me questions about what I was doing and what I was wanting out of my life as a young woman. And so we talked about the fact that I was in college. And immediately, the health professional said, well, you need to drop out of college. You're not going to be smart enough to continue because you have type 1 diabetes. I know. And so then we continued to talk a little bit more, and they asked me, what do you want to do with your life? And I started to talk very bright-eyed, like all young men and women do, and said, I want to be a journalist. I want to tell stories. I'm thinking about television and writing. And the health professional said, let's pick something more predictable. Journalists don't eat lunch at the same time every day, and that's going to be a problem for you. I bet some of you in this room who have lived with diabetes longer than I have remember those old types of philosophies around care for this condition. I was heartbroken. So you mean that I have to become a secretary or something that works 9 to 5 because I have diabetes? And the answer was yes. And so then we talked further, and the health professionals then started to scratch their heads, and they said, so were you really in a pageant last night? And I said, yes! It was the first Miss America preliminary I've ever done the night before I was diagnosed. And I'm this sick, and I was the runner-up. Now, I could go back, and I bet I'll win because you gave me insulin. And they said, oh, no. Never do that again. You can't handle a stressful environment. It's too much for you. A person with diabetes needs to avoid competitive types of environments like that. So I was just told to drop out of college, to get a boring job, and to never do anything again. And that's life with diabetes. And while I'm processing this, my parents and the health professionals left the room. In a few moments, they came back in. And this was the crushing part. My parents could not look at me because they were weeping. I bet some of you have been there. My father was shaking. I'll never forget seeing that. And I didn't know what was going on. And the health professional looked at me and he said, so we need to talk to you about family planning. And at that moment, I thought, what? And they proceeded to tell me that I would never have a child because I have diabetes. Now, I tell you all of that because that was my first day almost 20 years ago today. Now, a week later, after I was stabilized and went home, we still didn't know anything about diabetes, and we had no idea what was coming next. And so I looked in the phone book. We had phone books back then. And I found JDRF at that time. And I walked into their office and said, I have diabetes, and I don't know what to do. And you helped me. And I know that that's what you do every day to men, women, children, parents, and grandparents that walk through the doors of your offices or that interact with you at community events. And for that, thank you. It is our stories. As you heard the 3 stories on the stage as we open tonight, our stories are our bond. Our stories together are what make us powerful. Our stories also, when we use them the right way, they bring incredible hope and incredible healing to people who are in a lot of pain. I think that that's one of the most precious things that this organization does, is it wraps its arms around individuals who are hurting and says, you know what, I understand. And I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you there is hope. And there will be a tomorrow. And your tomorrow can be really great. That's values too, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. These really important values and these awards that I hope become a tradition in this organization, emphasizing perseverance, innovation, and collaboration. That's the essence of who we are. And from my vantage point, that's how we want people to think of us as we move forward. Values define character, and that's what makes us proud to belong to an organization like this. Am I right? So that tells me you're listening and you're cued in. Let me tell you that tonight is about the human spirit. It's also about resilience. So you know the end of my story. I went to college. I competed in a competition. I had a career and still have an interesting career that takes me all over the place. It's brought me to meet many of you, and for that I'm so grateful. And I have a beautiful daughter who is 6 years old and perfectly healthy. That is perseverance. So, we need these values that we're going to celebrate tonight as a collective body more than ever, don't we? Because your job is so incredibly difficult. Now, I tapped into the emotional importance of why it's so valuable and what you mean to people like me, and to my daughter, and to my parents, and to all of the people that surround me. But it doesn't overshadow the fact that the realities are a challenge. The economy is a challenge. Fundraising is difficult, but we press on. So tonight we're going to celebrate examples, and we've got 3 examples of each category of values to share with you. These were submitted, as James said earlier, by the regional directors from across the country, and it was a very, very difficult decision to whittle it down to 3 and then to whittle it down to 1. But we hope that the images and the videos that we're going to share with you will bring to light what these values mean. So what we're going to start with is perseverance, hard work, determination. Do you agree that you need perseverance on a daily basis to do your job?
Yeah,
Yes, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't know about you, but I'm hoping that we hear some pretty good dirt in these videos about what makes it a challenge and how people persevere through the hard times. So to get you in the mood, let's think about Winston Churchill. Now, he said a couple of interesting things about perseverance. Are you ready? You probably know these. He said, if you're going through hell, keep on going, right? Do you ever feel like that? All right, now you know the other one. He also said, never, never, never give in. I know that one all too well. It took me 6 years of participation in the Miss America organization before I made it to the finals. Never, never, never give in, no matter what they say and no matter what people throw at you. So, the perseverance videos.